With the sofa, I think I'm done with the hall, I think I'm done with the dining room table, baby. Let's go outside in the sunshine.
I know you want to, but you can't say yes.
Oh,
let's go outside in the moonshine. Take me. Hey, what the hell are we doing out here? Like, it's fucking cold. Man, I think you're taking this song too far. Like, honestly, what?
Alright, enough of that. Thank you, Benji. Alright. So when we bought the house, there was a big brick circle. We called it the circle. It's like a big brick walkway in the shape of a circle that took up the majority of the front yard. And inside of that circle is this ginormous bush that just obstructed the view of the house from the street and just took up basically a lot of the front yard. The rest of the yard was very much overgrown in every way, so we wanted to clear a lot of it out, and with a vision of going for more of a native garden. The first things first, we wanted to clear that big bush out of the way, as well as some of the larger stumps. So we hired the Jones Brothers, a local outfit here who do a lot of stump removal and other kind of landscaping work, to come in and help us take care of that. The giant monstera by the sunroom side of the house also had to go. I kind of liked it, but Simon was like, nah, it's got to go. We wanted to also move the driveway from the other side of the house to this side of the house, because as you can tell, there was heaps of space on this side of the house, enough for a two-car carport, whereas the other side of the house was more appropriate for a shotgun-style parking situation, which is, let's be honest, kind of a pain in the ass, right? Getting council approval was probably the hardest part, but once we did get council approval, we were off and running. Then getting out the big Tonka toys, so to say. We hired another local by the name of Brett from Workmate, who's just down the road, to come and make room for the driveway, put down the road base, and put in the crossover. Cleared out heaps and heaps of overgrowth and took all that to the tip, and then leaving some of it on the old driveway side of the house that we used to level out some of that area and also put into some raised garden beds. And he found the stormwater drain, which we were kind of expecting to find at some stage. It had actually been compromised because a lot of that area was really wet, so it was quite muddy. So we had to actually come back at a later date to finish re-leveling and putting in the road base to give that some time to dry out, and also time for us to replumb that and connect it back up to the stormwater drain running down the side of the house to the street. And as you can see, at the time I hadn't gotten around to moving some old kind of windows and timber out from under the house, but I've finally gotten that taken care of. We also found an old septic tank at the end of the drive, which we basically destroyed and buried, and it'll just be covered over. And actually one of the posts for the carport will go down right next to that. The fence was also in pretty poor shape, especially the gate. I had trouble closing and opening that, and we were using a little bungee cord to keep it shut. Plus we just didn't feel like it went with the style of the house. The house is quite modest, so we wanted something that was more reminiscent of like a true kind of late 1800s, more early 1900s country house, which we felt was this kind of emu wire design, or what they call an emu wire fence or woven wire fence. Because yeah, when we moved in, there was so much roo poo in the backyard, so the roos were getting, of course, through the gate because the gate was left wide open, and there was a lot of grass in the backyard, so they would go and feed on the grass. And I didn't think it was roo poo. It couldn't, for me as an American, I was like, there's no way that's roo poo. It's like not big enough. But yeah, it's definitely roo poo. Seeing as how we were building the fence ourselves, we wanted to have a bit of a practice round and start with this side of the house, just to give it a go at first, to figure out kind of our system before we took on the fence in front. Not to mention with Sierra as well, getting these side fences done sooner than later would be good to help keep Sierra in the backyard without relying on kind of a temporary solution. Looking at other similar fences, we determined kind of the basic structure. So going with basically a 100 by 100 post, which is just a cypress rough sawn hardwood, and then using a bottom rail that was routed into the bottom of the posts to hold that together. So we used a simple template out of timber to use with the router in order to get the hole in the side of the post in the right spot, as well as another template for the top of the post as well. So what we were routing out was going to be consistent for every post that we did. And then using a top rail and screwing that top rail onto the posts after those were routed out as well. And you can see on this post we accidentally routed out the wrong side of the top rail at first, so that'll just have to be bogged in. So again, starting with this side of the house. The gate was a little different to the standard fence due to the diagonal crossbeam. So we used a 45mm thick side rails and 35mm top and bottom rails, so the emu wire would kind of sit flush between the two side rails, be tacked to the top rail, and then drilled and sunk into the bottom rail where we could. And as we were getting started on the fence work, we decided to use these old concrete edging pieces and move them to this side of the driveway, which, as you can tell, are kind of being covered over by some plants that we have already kind of planted. And then the gravel will also sit on top of that bottom lip as well to cover it up. It'll provide a nice kind of edging for that side of the house, and reusing some old parts from the original house when we bought it, so it feels good. We will be getting a topper gravel to go on top of the driveway that'll cover the road base, make it more attractive, and also be a nice locking gravel. For the rest of the front yard, we're using a Corten steel edging that we picked up in Tatura, a little town about 20 minutes away from where we are, at a cool old metal shop, and much cheaper than picking it up in Melbourne. So these were pretty easy to just give the shop the measurements that we needed, roll them out, and then place them in, and then securing them at the join with a couple bolts to make them secure. The overall layout was done, and as you can see, there was a surplus of dirt in the middle we had to level out. For this we hired a local by the name of Brooke Lunny, and then he also leveled out a bit of a place where the path would be going, which we wanted to kind of have a gentle wind about it. And as you might have been able to guess by the landscaping cloth, we'll be graveling the rest of the front yard. This will work nicely with kind of the Australian native garden and also provide more low maintenance and not needing to worry about watering the lawn all the time. Then finally the path. First we laid down about a square meter of road base along where the path was going to be going, and let that settle for a while actually until we got around to finishing it. And then screeded out about an inch of sand on top of that and packed that down, and then used that as the base for the bricks. We kept a basket pattern, which is similar to what is currently in the backyard on the patio that's currently there, that we'll be ripping up and redoing in the same pattern. So those patterns will match front and back. We did start by using this terrible plastic edging just to act as a guide for where the path was going and the sand and the bricks, but it was terrible. I think it's fine if you're doing some really light duty stuff, but for a path like this, we ripped it out early on and replaced it with concrete as a way to keep everything in the same spot. And that's about it. We love how it looks like the path has already been here for about 20 years, and I think it'll serve us well in years to come. And then just this weekend, we've been laying out all the, what do you call this stuff? Weed mat? In preparation for the rocks to come. Quarry's been too wet to get any gravel from lately, so we've been patiently waiting for that. But now that we have the weed mat down, finally the weeds won't come back again, as they had, and we had to rototill the entire area and then level it out again, and now the weed mat is down. So with that, we can wait for the stones and we're good to go. Just sit back and watch the flowers grow. That's it for this update. Hope to see you soon. All right, cheers. Bye.
Forget our fear of what comes after. We'll hold on for better days. Let our past begin to shatter. Days like these, we can see the way to live out a new chapter. Tide's coming our way as we move closer to what matters. Times like these, they come and go, so let this feeling grow. Finally see what we've always known.